about now?
A little better, yeah.
Better?
You know, today's Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja.
Yes.
So I won't give class from Brhad Bhagavatmrtam.
Okay, understand.
I'll just speak about Prabhupada.
Okay. Then first I will make the announcement and then we can start.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
为昆特清佛言聆听，各位尊敬的Vaishnava奉献者，今天是2021年8月31日，我们又非常荣幸的邀请到了圣 Bhaktivedanta Vinashana Singha Swami Maharaj 给我们讲解今天的早课，敬请聆听 Hare Krishna。
Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pricharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarine Vanchakopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today is the auspicious day of the appearance day of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So in honor of His appearance day, I would like to speak some glorification of Prabhupada this morning.
今天是圣恩 A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami 这个特帕的光荣的写真日，所以今天我要讲一些他的荣耀。
Nu är det ingen Shawidyar.
Okay.
Inga Daidyar.
Okay.
Taisha.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to speak from the Guru Vastikam. We'll say the Guru Vastikam verses and I'll speak on each verse. Samsara Dava Nalalita Loka Tranaya Karyana Ganaganatvam Praptasya Kalyana Ganarnavasya Bande Garo Shri Charanaravinda. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just like a rain cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master is delivering the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His lotus feet.
那今天早晨，麻辣是将要讲述他诵名诗的这8段诗节，荣耀圣恩帕帕德。第一段，物质存在犹如熊熊烈火，灵性导师承受仁慈家普渡苦难无边的物质世界，就如云里骤降，清灭熊熊烈火。在您的莲花灵性导师啊，您是极 喜庆之阳，在您的莲花足上，我最虔诚的顶拜。
So this verse is describing how the spiritual master gets the mercy from Krishna.
这个诗节讲的意思是说，灵性导师从 Krishna 那里获得了仁慈。
Just like the clouds take the water from the ocean and then pour the water onto the land in the form of rain.
好像云从大海当中吸取了水分，然后再以雨水的形式向土地上倾泻雨水。
In the same way, the spiritual master gets the mercy from Krishna and delivers it on the fallen conditioned souls in the material world.
以同样的方式，灵性导师从 Krishna 那里获得了仁慈，再把这份仁慈倾泻到受条件限制的物质世界的生灵当中。
And when there's a fire in the forest, it's very difficult to put out the forest fire unless a great rain cloud comes and pours the water on the fire. It's very difficult to put out a forest fire.
如果有森林大火的话，那很难来把森林大火扑灭。除非就是有很大的暴雨才能扑灭森林大火。
So material existence is like being in the middle of a forest fire. It's very unpleasant. There's so much suffering in the material world.
存在就好像森林大火，如果一个人身处森林大火当中，他会感到痛苦不安。
Why is there so much misery there in the material world? It is just the nature of the material world, that it's a miserable place and there's suffering.
那么为什么物质世界有这么多痛苦呢？因为这个是物质世界的本质，物质世界就是这样一个受苦的地方。
Just like the forest fire takes place, some bamboo rubs together and produces a spark, and it ignites the leaves, dry leaves, and in that way you get a forest fire. It just occurs by nature.
在森林当中有高大的竹子彼此之间互相摩擦，产生火星，就引发了竹叶之间的这个燃烧，就继而引发了整个森林的大火。这就是森林的本性。
So in the same way, material existence is full of problems and so many miseries and suffering. It's very difficult for people to get free of it without the mercy of the pure devotee.
Sorry, Mother, they said that my voice is too far away. I have to adjust my voice a little bit.
Yeah, your voice is not right.
Mara, can you repeat your sentence? 以同样的方式，物质世界就是这样，就像森林一样，处处都会引发森林大火，所以物质世界就是这样的一个痛苦的地方。
Yes, so much suffering. So everyone wants to get relief from the suffering, and we don't know how to do it. People in their ignorance, they take shelter of alcohol and drugs and sex. They try to find some way to forget the suffering, but it's always a failure.
在物质世界，人人都感到痛苦，但是他们就想要从饮酒作乐，或者是吸麻醉品来暂时忘却痛苦，来让自己麻痹，把痛苦忘得一干二净。可是结果呢，他们不能做到这一点，他们仍然会痛苦。
And the pure devotee is so merciful. that he comes and delivers the mercy of Krishna and saves us all from that fire of material existence.
纯粹的奉献者是非常仁慈的，他前来拯救受限体困灵魂，他得到的是 Krishna 的仁慈，他就能够熄灭这个物质存在的熊熊燃烧的烈火。
So we offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the spiritual master.
因此，我们向灵性导师莲花足予以虔敬的礼拜。
Then the second verse is Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita, like chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments. The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he's relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind, sometimes he feels quivering within his body, his hair stand on end, tears flow from his eyes like rain. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master.
译文：在歌仔舞、古巴齐鸣、齐颂圣名，喜乐无边。灵性导师喜见主泰丹亚马哈帕布的齐颂圣名运动，他心里品尝纯粹奉献的甘露，有时他会毛发直竖，身体颤抖，泪如雨下。灵性导师啊，我向您的莲花足地虔敬的顶戴。
So Srila Prabhupada came to the Western world and he brought the Sankirtan movement with him. He introduced all the devotees to performing Sankirtan, which is the proper way to glorify the Supreme Lord.
以同样的方式，是这个泡泡的从遥远的西方来到遥远的西方，他引荐了赏诗坛齐颂圣名运动，奉献者通过齐颂圣名运动来正确的荣耀至尊主。
In every age there is the chanting of the holy names.
在每个年代都有唱诵圣名的活动。
But in Kali Yuga, there's only the chanting of the holy name. In other ages, there were other processes as well.
但是在卡里年代，只剩下了唱诵圣名这个法门了。在其他的在卡里年代只剩下齐颂圣名了，在其他的年代还有其他的方法。
So Srila Prabhupada taught us all how to perform Sankirtan. He personally chanted and danced. He showed the devotees how to dance and how to chant. So we're so much indebted to him for giving us this process of Sankirtan.
德泡帕德教导他奉献者们来齐颂圣名，在歌在舞，他亲身的来示范怎样去做到这一点。所以我们亏欠圣恩帕帕德，是他带给了我们Sankirtan齐颂圣名。
Just like 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya's main activity was Sankirtan. Wherever he would go, he would chant the holy name and he would dance in ecstasy. And usually he would just be on his own, but he would be chanting and dancing in ecstasy. And Srila Prabhupada would do like that also in the beginning. He was alone, but he would chant and he would dance.
500年前，在参加曼哈帕布，他介绍了发起了齐颂圣名运动。无论他走到哪里，都会在狂喜当中载歌载舞，但他一般都是一个人唱诵舞蹈。同样的方式，圣帕帕德一开始也是独自一个人唱诵舞蹈的。
And Prabhupada taught us the proper musical instruments for kirtan, the mridanga drum and the kartals. These very simple, basic instruments are sufficient for performing Sankirtan.
圣帕帕德的教育奉献者怎样以正确的方式，他还教导奉献者用乐器伴奏，简单的每当歌鼓、阿 还有鼓，这些都是足够来进行响片看齐颂圣名了。
Yeah, we say kol and kartal. Kol means the madanga drum, and kartal, the finger cymbals. So these two instruments, very basic, but when they're played properly, the sound is very melodious, and combined with the chanting of the holy name, it produces a transcendental atmosphere.
有两个词，一个是 kol， 一个是 kartal， 指的就是女当的和女当的鼓，还有 kartal 挠钹，这两个乐器会发出悦耳动听的声音，让你齐颂圣名，能够营造超然的氛围。
And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, now this Sankirtan movement is going on all over the world, in all parts of the world, in all the corners of the world. There are devotees chanting.
其实圣人十了泡泡的人子，现在齐颂圣名已经遍及全世界的每个角落，所有的奉献者都以这种方式来齐颂圣名。
And the result of chanting of the holy name is that the spiritual master will, like Srila Prabhupada, they experience ecstasy, they experience the quivering of the body, and the hair standing on end, and tears flowing from the eyes. These are all symptoms of bhava, or the awakening of their pure love for Krishna.
结果就是吃了帕布帕的他展示的这个毛发直竖，身体颤抖，泪如雨泻，这个是帕瓦的敦厚，这是主 Krishna 的存在。
Love of Krishna is in everyone's heart. It just has to be awakened, and the process to awaken it is through the chanting of the holy name.
对 Krishna 的爱在每个人的心中，需要通过唱诵圣名加以唤醒。
Okay, the third verse describes Sri Vigraha Radhana Nichanana Shringaratan Mandira Marjanado. Spiritual masters always engaged in worshipping the deities of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Along with his disciples, they cleanse the temple and decorate the deities with beautiful clothes and ornaments. He engages his disciples in such service also. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master.
他说明是3段译文。灵性导师始终崇拜庙里的 Radha Krishna， 还叫门生如样做为神像穿戴华丽的衣饰，打扫清洁庙宇，并用其他种种方式崇拜主。灵性导师啊，我向着你的莲花足底谦敬的礼拜。
One of Srila Prabhupada's very special contributions to the world was that he established the deity worship in the different centers around the world.
这个帕帕的特殊贡献之一，就是在全世界各地的中心树立了神像崇拜。
Prabhupada taught all the devotees, although we come from Western culture, we don't know the culture to worship the deity. Prabhupada taught us the standards and how to perform the worship and how to offer everything to the deities and how to care for the deities and dress the deity and decorate the deity.
这个帕帕教导这些有着西方背景的奉献者们，怎样以正确的方式来照顾神像、崇拜神像、神像供奉，装饰神像，给神像穿衣。
And Srila Prabhupada taught us the importance of cleanliness, keeping the temple very neat and clean, not putting the devotional articles on the floor, like don't put books on the floor, don't put instruments on the floor. The madanga shouldn't be kept on the floor. Madanga is the sacred, and the kartals also don't put on the floor. Prabhupada taught us all these things. Then he taught us how to worship, how to how to perform arti and offer the different items for worshipping the deity.
这个帕布帕德教导奉献者，让庙里保持整洁、清洁，怎样不要把这些像书籍、乐器这些宗爱的用品放在地上。当个鼓和巴塔都属于神圣的物品，不能放置在地板上。帕帕德教导了奉献者应怎样给神像供奉阿提。
The deity worship in ISKCON is among the highest standards in the world. That we have we try to keep a very high standard. The dresses, particularly, the dresses and the ornaments which are used by the ISKCON temples are very, very good, and people very much appreciate the high quality of the worship of the deities.
在ISKCON当中从事的神像崇拜已经达到了非常高的标准。奉献者们会以特殊的方式给神像穿衣、佩戴饰物，这些饰物都是做工精美的，然后他们给神像做的崇拜的品质都是一流的。
So the worship of the deities is a very unique contribution of Srila Prabhupada, that he introduced this around the world. Outside of India, it had never been seen before Srila Prabhupada.
这个帕布哈德，他对于世人所做的这个贡献是独一无二的。他给世人介绍了该怎样崇拜神像。在这之前，印度之外的人是从未听说过的。
And we see so many beautiful, beautiful deities in different parts of the world. In Los Angeles, they have Rukmini Dwarkadish, and in New York, Radha Govinda, and in Dallas, Radha Kalachandji, all very beautiful, beautiful deities.
所有帕帕德让奉献者们所做的神像崇拜，都是美丽卓绝的，在世界各地的中心。比如说，在洛杉矶的神像是 Rukmini Dwarkadish 神像，在纽约有 Radha Govinda 神像，在达拉斯有 Radha Kalachandji 神像。
These are big deities, not small. They're big, very powerful, and they're worshipped in a very gorgeous manner.
这些神像可不是那种小型的神像，都是体型大的神像。这些神像也有超凡的力量。对这些神像的崇拜都是很崇高，还有很华丽的崇拜。
Just yesterday, a devotee from Hong Kong sent me the picture of the temple in Hong Kong and the deities and the decoration. It was so amazing. It was incredible. So many flowers. It was so beautifully done. Gornitai, and all the decoration was so wonderful.
昨天有奉献者就给马哈拉斯发来了香港庙的情景。他们对于这个庙装饰的美轮美奂，有许许多多的鲜花和绿植，多瑞尼泰他们的装扮是美丽异常的。
Okay, we'll go ahead to the next verse, number 4. Chaturvida Sri Bhagavat Prasada. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious foodstuffs. Analyzed is that which is licked, chewed, swallowed, and sucked. 4 kinds of delicious foodstuffs are offered to Krishna, and when the spiritual master sees that his disciples are satisfied by taking prasadam, then he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master.
第4段译文。 灵性导师总是供奉 Krishna 4种美味可口的食物，甜的、咀嚼的、可饮的、七座的。但见奉献者享用鲫鱼，他便心满意足。灵性导师啊，在您的莲花之下，我向您比前进的顶拜。
So, prasadam is another item of ISKCON which is very much appreciated and very well known around the world. Everyone knows that if there's a Krishna temple there, there'll be nice prasadam.
ISKCON 的 prasadam 是非常著名的，所有的人都很欣赏 ISKCON 所做的 prasadam 的品质。倘若哪个地方有 Krishna 的庙宇啊，他们就知道一定会有美味可口的 prasadam。
So Krishna prasadam is something which Srila Prabhupada, in the beginning Srila Prabhupada used to cook for all the devotees, and gradually he trained the devotees, and the devotees learned themselves how to cook, and more devotees have become expert in cooking, and they can produce wonderful varieties of foodstuffs.
Krishna prasadam 是非常有力量的。这个Prabhupada一开始会亲手来烹制，但是后来他又训练门徒，教他们怎么做。渐渐的，奉献者们就学会了做烹制 Krishna prasadam。那么这些 prasadam 都是非常丰盛的、精美的。
Srila Prabhupada taught that cooking for Krishna means you have to cook many varieties of foodstuff. Not just only some sabji with some rice, but there should be breads, there should be savories, there should be salty things, there should be sweet things, there should be all different, there should be nectarian drinks, there should be soups, liquids, there should be dal also, protein soup, there should be all varieties of foodstuffs offered.
的教导奉献者为 Krishna 做 prasadam， 这些种类丰盛，不要仅仅就是蔬菜米饭，要有面食、面包，还要有这种开胃品还有酱类，有咸的、甜的，有饮品，有豆汤，还有汤类，品种要是丰盛的。
And everything would be made in the kitchen, nothing purchased from outside. And so everything would be fresh and tasty and nutritious. One of the main problems we have in China is some devotees are not very well trained in cooking. They don't know a lot of variety and just cook some vegetable.
所有这些 Krishna prasadam 都要是从厨房来烹制出来的，而不应该是来自外面的，所以它一定是新鲜、好吃、有营养的。在中国的问题就是奉献者没有受到训练，不会做品种丰盛的 prasadam， 只是会做一些蔬菜而已。
And because they just cook some vegetables, they cannot attract the other members, the other family members to be vegetarian. Because they think the other family members don't see anything very tasty or satisfying, and they want to eat meat. And the problem is because our devotees are not very expert in cooking. They need to learn how to cook, and they have to be willing to make some extra efforts in the cooking. That it takes a little bit more effort, but it's worth it.
那么在中国的奉献者，他们只会做一些简单的蔬菜，他们这个做出来的不能吸引家里的人，他们会觉得，这些素食，猪肉类好吃，只是这些太简单了。所以奉献者应该擅长学会怎么做 prasadam， 他们应该愿意做，花出一些额外的努力来做的美食。
The Krishna consciousness movement, in fact, all Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they're sometimes called the kitchen religion because they spend so much time cooking different dishes for the pleasure of Krishna.
在高迪外什纳的传统当中， Krishna 知觉就是宗教的，厨房的宗教。那么从厨房当中会为 Krishna 的为取悦 Krishna 来做出这些美味丰盛的素食。
And your cooking should be so nice that the deity will want to steal the prasadam.
你标准应该达到你做的食物是这么好吃，神像会从厨房偷这些食物吃。
So, prasadam, very, very important part of our Krishna consciousness movement. It's the very powerful weapon in bringing people to Krishna consciousness.
所以 Krishna Prasadam 它是一个强有力的武器，将人们可以带到 Krishna 知觉中。
Many people came to Krishna consciousness just because of prasadam, and many people vowed they would never leave Krishna consciousness because they could never live without prasadam.
许多人进入 Krishna 知觉，就是由于 Prasadam 的吸引力，还有许多人发誓永远不离开 Krishna 的知觉，是因为他们再也离不开了 Krishna Prasadam 了。
So we have to learn how to try to always improve the variety and the quality of our prasadam. And prasadam is not just only for offering to Krishna and eat ourselves, but prasadam is meant to be distributed.
因此，我们一定要增加 Prasadam 的品种 ，Prasadam 的品质，而且这些食物供奉给 Krishna， 不仅仅我们自己品尝，我们还要将它们带给其他的人共享。
And your prasadam should be so good that people, after you give them some prasadam, they'll be asking you, have you got any more prasadam? People will want to have more.
那么，我们做出来的 Prasadam 应该达到这种标准，就是它更好吃，人们会不断的向我们要，还有没有更多的，他们想要更多的 Prasadam 吃。
Okay, we'll go ahead. The next verse, number 5. Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Lila Gunar. The spiritual master is very much anxious to hear and chant about the wonderful pastimes between Radhika and Madhava, which are all in the modes of loving exchange, Madhurya Lila, as well as about their quality, names and forms. Spiritual master aspires after relishing these things at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet.
大树林诗有5个诗节，灵性导师始终渴望聆听唱诵 Radha Madhav 的爱恋、逍遥，以及他们的品质、名声和形象，他们无时无刻不热切品尝。灵性导师啊，在你的莲花足下，我致以虔敬的顶拜。
So Srila Prabhupada didn't just only teach us to cook and to worship the deities, he taught us also the philosophy, which is very important, because without good knowledge, we won't be able to keep up the worship of the deity.
施罗帕帕的不仅仅教导了我们该如何烹饪、如何崇拜，他还告诉我们这门哲学一点非常重要。倘若没有知识的话，我们就无法坚持不懈地继续下去。
If we don't hear regularly about the principles of devotional service and the position of Lord Krishna, then we will take the worship to be something of a burden, and gradually we'll give it up. And so it's very important that we have to hear regularly.
They say that my voice is sometimes loud, sometimes small. Do you find the same problem with my voice?
Yeah, there is. Your voice is up and down. Sometimes it's weak, sometimes it's strong.
Okay. 对不起大家，今天是在外面过节，所以声音不是特别好。 当然，那么施罗帕巴德他就教导了奉献者，有规律的，然后遵守奉爱服务的原则，要了解 Krishna 的地位，要知道该怎样正确的崇拜 Krishna。
Therefore, Srila Prabhupada instituted in our centers how every morning we'd have Bhagavatam class. We'd read from the scriptures and discuss the philosophy together. Every morning and every evening, these activities would go on. There would always be hearing and chanting.
施罗帕巴德他确立了在伊斯兰的中心都要有早晚课，每天早上要有圣典博伽法坛讲课。这样呢，奉献者可以聆听到这门哲学。
Devotees would all gather to discuss the philosophy together. And it's very important for us that we sit and hear, and then we also ask questions. When a devotee approaches the spiritual master, it's their duty to put questions to him.
奉献者们一起来讨论这门哲学，他们坐下来聆听。后提问题，奉献者们应该向灵性导师提出有关于哲学方面的问题，这点至关重要。
Yeah, often we see devotees, they come to the spiritual master and they'll simply say, "Oh, how are you, Gurudev? How is your health?" That's not how to approach the spiritual master.
有的时候，奉献者他们见到灵性导师会问灵性导师，Gurudev， 你现在怎么样啊？您的健康怎么样啊？但是这个并不是一个正确的来跟灵性导师谈话的方式。
We should approach with questions about the philosophy and trying to understand Krishna more. We should put questions which are relevant to the spiritual topics, are relevant to the class, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not just don't just ask the spiritual master, how's your health? That's not relevant. Spiritual master's not in the bodily concept of life. He's not thinking about his body. And why are you trying to encourage him to think about his body? By asking him about the body.
奉献者们他们见到灵导师呢，应该提出相关的问题，比如说跟圣典博伽瓦坛这样的经典有关的问题，而不是总是问灵引导师，您的健康现在怎么样啊？灵引导师已经摆脱了躯体化的生命概念，奉献者不应该总是问这种问题来鼓励灵引导师处在这种躯体化的概念当中。
So if you just want to ask about the body, better you don't go to the spiritual master, go to materialistic people and ask them about their body.
如果你要是关心一个人的躯体的话，那就不要去找灵导师问这种问题，你就去找普通的物质主义者来跟他们提这种问题好了。
Spiritual master likes to hear about Krishna, be reminded about Krishna and about his own spiritual master.
灵导师喜欢时刻铭记 Krishna， 他们要想着 Krishna， 想着自己的灵导师。
So today is actually everyone's spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of the movement, so he's the Shiksha Guru for all the members in our society. So this is the most important day for all the devotees.
那么今天其实是所有的伊斯兰成员灵性导师的就是重要的节日。因为十了帕帕德是所有伊斯兰奉献者成员的 Shiksha Guru。
And I hope you've all written an offering for Srila Prabhupada. You should all have written some offering for Prabhupada today.
马尔说，希望我们所有的今天过节的人都要来向帕帕德来朗读自己给帕帕德的祷文。
All right, so we'll go ahead. Nikunja Yuno Rati Kili Sedai. The spiritual master is very much expert in assisting the gopis in the perfection of Radha and Krishna conjugal loving affairs. At different times they make different arrangements for such spiritual exchange. I offer my respectful obeisances. unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master.
世界5，灵性导师始终希望 ，sorry， 世界6，灵性导师十分亲切，善于协助牧牛姑娘，他们千方百计为 Radha Krishna 的姻缘牵引，安排温达文丛林的暗恋，使他们共协和好。灵性导师啊，我向您的莲花族致以前进的顶拜。
So this is describing the spiritual position of the spiritual master, that in his spiritual body, he's assisting in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna.
这个就描述了灵性导师的地位。灵性导师他以他的灵性的躯体，在协助 Radha Krishna 消失光。
So sometimes we would ask Prabhupada, what is your relationship with Krishna, Prabhupada? Who are you in the spiritual world? We wanted to know his identity in the spiritual world.
有的时候我们也问施了帕帕德，那您跟 Krishna 是什么关系呢？您在灵性世界到底是什么身份呢？
And Prabhupada would say, you don't need that. That you don't need. This is not important for you now. He said, when it's important, then Krishna will tell you.
施了帕帕说，你不需要知道，你们不需要知道这一点。在目前的情况下，对你们来说这并不重要。一旦什么时候重要的时候 ，Krishna 会透露的。
Of course, we understand all the spiritual masters in the line of disciplic succession to be very intimate associates of Radha and Krishna.
我们明白，在这个使徒传系当中，所有灵性导师都是 Radha Krishna 亲密的同游。
Or else they're assistants of Lord Nityananda in the Sankirtan movement.
如果不是这个身份的话，他们就是在齐颂圣母运动是主Nityananda的助手。
So we see both of these features in the activities of Srila Prabhupada.
我们在施罗帕帕身上看到他拥有这两个身份。
He taught us to worship Radha and Krishna, and he taught us to sing Jaya Radha Madhava, glorifying the pastimes of Radha and Krishna.
他教我们来崇拜 Radha Krishna， 他教我们来唱 Jaya Radha Madhava， 来荣耀他们的消逝光。
This song, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, it's about the very intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So singing that song brings one to the highest level of spiritual consciousness.
Jai Radha Madhava 唱诵的是Radha Krishna 最亲密的消逝光，他把人们带到最高的灵性层面。
Prabhupada didn't teach us just to worship Gaur-Nitai. He brought Radha and Krishna. He worshipped Radha and Krishna. He established Radha and Krishna deities in many temples in many cities.
施特帕帕不仅教导了奉献者崇拜 Gaur-Nitai， 他也教奉献者怎样崇拜 Radha Krishna， 在全世界各地建立 Radha Krishna 的庙宇。
Many people wrote commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada didn't just write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada also wrote Krishna book describing all the pastimes of Krishna.
许多人会做出国家梵歌的评述。施特帕帕不仅评述了国家梵歌，他还给世人 Krishna 快乐前缘这本书，里面有很多 Krishna 消逝光。Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sumukhi Radha.
Oh, sorry, I'm coming. I just had to take care of something. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada also established, just like Lord Nityananda, who was traveling everywhere doing Sankirtan and telling people about the glories of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Prabhupada was in the mood of Lord Nityananda, encouraging the devotees and showing us how to do Sankirtan and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya.
施了帕帕德就是以尼迦南达的心血在履行传播齐颂圣运动，传播了如柴达涅妈妈路的信息，以主的心态在传扬着齐颂圣运动。
And Srila Prabhupada so in this way I understand Srila Prabhupada both in relation to Radha and Krishna and also in relation to Lord Nityananda.
从这一点当中，我可以明白，施了帕帕的不仅仅跟 Radha Krishna 有关系，还跟尼迦南达有密切的关系。
And sometimes we would see Srila Prabhupada also in ecstasy, feeling the ecstasy of love of Krishna. Tears coming from his eyes and trembling of his body. Very rarely Prabhupada would reveal these ecstasies.
有的时候，施了帕帕会展示狂喜的征兆，他会浑身颤抖，泪水从他眼里流下来。但是施了帕帕他极少来向世人在公开场合展示这些征兆。
So we'll go on, text number 7. Sakshad Diridvena Samasta Shastrir Uktas Tata Bhavyata Eva Sagvi. Spiritual Master is honored as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and is followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna.
世界七，一本灵性导师是主至亲密的仆人，要像荣耀至尊主一样的荣耀他。所有启示经典都证实了这一点，所有权威亦如样跟随。灵性导师是 Sri Hari Krishna 的真正代表，我向您的莲花族是以前进的礼拜。
So spiritual master is not an ordinary person. He is very dear to Lord Krishna.
灵性导师不是普通人，主 Krishna 他对于主 Krishna 非常亲切。
He is the he's the servitor personality of Godhead.
他是至尊仆人神手。
Srila Prabhupada, we should understand the position of the spiritual master, like Srila Prabhupada, how he is such a very special personality that he is so close to Krishna. Therefore, he is honored just like the Supreme Lord.
我们要明白施拉花的地位是多么的崇高，他是一个特殊的人物，因为他的崇高地位，所以他有的时候就受到像至尊主这样的荣耀。
Just like Lord Krishna is called Bhagavan, but also some very great devotees, they're also called Bhagavan, like sometimes Narada Muni, sometimes Uddhava, sometimes Shiva, they're also called as Bhagavan, because they're very confidential servants of Lord Krishna. So they're honored like Lord Krishna.
不仅仅至尊主被称为八个万，有时候那个穆尼、须巴、乌德瓦被称为是八个万，因为他们是对主的最机密的仆人，所以他们也受到像 Krishna 那样的荣耀。
So the spiritual master is representative of Krishna. When we offer to Krishna, we first offer to our spiritual master. And by offering to the spiritual master, then we can offer to Krishna. We go through the spiritual master to come to Krishna.
我们对至尊主的荣耀是透过灵性导师来荣耀至尊主的。
So this is stated in all the scriptures, and this is followed by all the authorities.
这一点在经典当中得以记载，所有的权威都遵守这个程序。
So this is the spiritual master is not God, but he's the representative of God, and whatever we offer to him, he will offer to God.
灵性导师不是神，但他是神的代表。无论我们给灵性导师供奉什么，他都会供奉给神。
When Prabhupada went to America, one time they asked him, "Are you also God, Swamiji? Because so many other gurus have come from India, and they all tell us that they're God, that they're the Supreme Lord. So are you also the God?" So Prabhupada said, No, I'm not God. I am simply servant of God. But then Prabhupada said, I am not even servant. I am trying to be servant.
是的，他去美国的时候，有的人问他：“Swamiji，你是神吗？”因为有很多的咕噜，他们都自称是神，自称是至尊主。然后释迦牟尼说：“我不是神，我是仆人。事实上，我甚至不是仆人，我在努力的成为仆人。”
So this is the nature of the bona fide spiritual master. He's not interested in honor. He doesn't want to get the money of the people. He just simply wants to teach them. Prabhupada said, I've come to teach you what you have forgotten.
这是灵性导师的真正的本性，他并不渴望荣誉，并不渴望金钱，他只是渴望来教导人们，他们所遗忘的事物。
So many people came from India. They just wanted to get money from America and bring it back to India. Prabhupada said, I've not come to get your money. I've come to give you what you've forgotten. I've come to give you God consciousness.
许许多多的人从印度来到美国，他们没心思是想把美国的钱拿到印度去花。那释迦牟尼佛说：“我对你们的钱不感兴趣，我只是想来教导你们所遗忘的事物。”
Okay, we'll finish for the final verse. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado yasya prasada nagati katopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one gets the mercy of Krishna. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, then there will be havoc on the path of spiritual life. Therefore, I should always remember my spiritual master and praise him. 3 times a day I should offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet.
第8个10节，提着灵性导师的恩慈，才能获得 Krishna 的福音。没有灵性导师的恩泽，灵性路寸步难行。我应当始终铭记赞美灵性导师，每天向您的莲花足前进的顶戴3次。
We have to understand how important it is for us to have the mercy of the spiritual master.
我们要明白，得到灵性导师的仁慈是多么重要的。
So how to get the mercy of the spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada's not physically present. Can we still get the mercy of Prabhupada?
那我们怎么能得到这份仁慈的？那圣帕帕德他现在并没有亲身在这个地球上，我们还能得到他的仁慈吗？
Srila Prabhupada said, I will live forever by my instructions. And he said also, the spiritual master lives forever by his instructions, and the follower lives with him.
释迦帕帕说：“我永远活在我的信使当中。”他说：“灵性导师，他永远活在他的信使当中，他的追随者也永远和他同在。”
So it's very important for us to know what are Prabhupada's instructions, and in order to do that, we have to read Srila Prabhupada's books, and we have to hear about Prabhupada and his work and his teachings, his mission.
所以我们一定要了解释勒帕帕的信使，如何知道呢？是通过来阅读他的书籍来知道释勒帕帕到底有什么信使。 我们应当聆听施罗帕巴德的言语，他的教导，他的使命是什么？
It's important for us to understand that without the mercy of the spiritual master, we cannot go to Krishna. We cannot just go to Krishna without going through the spiritual master.
我们一定要明白，没有灵性导师的仁慈，我们是没办法去 Krishna 那里的呢。我们不可能解开灵性导师直接去 Krishna 那里。
Krishna will say, "Who's recommended you?" If you go to Krishna, Krishna will say, "Who's recommended you? Any devotee recommended you?" If we don't have the recommendation of a devotee, Krishna will not accept us.
Krishna 会问是谁把你推荐来的呢？ Krishna 会提出这样的问题：是哪个奉献者把你推荐到这里的？如果没有推荐人 ，Krishna 他不会接受我们的。
Therefore, we see all the devotees, they all have a spiritual master. Although Prabhupada was born a devotee, and he was born in a devotee family, he still took a spiritual master, he still took initiation.
所以我们看到每一个奉献者都有自己的灵性导师。虽然圣帕巴德也出生在奉献者家庭，他的父母都是奉献者，他仍然接受灵性导师的启迪。
And Lord Krishna also had a spiritual master. Lord Krishna also went to the Guru's ashram and stayed there and got trained and did service.
这连主 Krishna 都有自己的灵性导师，他也去了灵师他的 Guru 的 ashram 修院，他去接受他的训示来服务他的灵性导师。
And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also took initiation. He found a spiritual master and he went to him and he got initiation from him.
主 Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 也有自己的灵性导师，他去他的灵性导师那里去聆听他的训示，并得到了启迪。
Lord Chaitanya had to go to Gaya to meet Keshava Bharati to get initiated, or rather Ishvara Puri, to meet Ishvara Puri. Keshava Bharati was his sannyas guru. So when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he also took sannyas from another, his sannyas guru. But his first guru was Ishvara Puri, and Ishvara Puri instructed him in the chanting of the holy name.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 从 Ishvara Puri 那里得到了启迪，得到了圣名启迪，如何唱诵圣名。他从托钵僧时候，他又从另一个 Ishvara Bharati 那里得到了sannyas启迪。
So it's very, very important for our spiritual life. We must have a spiritual master, and we must keep a good relationship with the spiritual master. We don't just take initiation and then go away. Initiation is the beginning of the connection. We're meant to keep connection with the spiritual master.
那对奉献者灵性生活当中，他灵性导师至关重要，而且还要应该跟灵性导师保持一种很良好的友善的关系，不应该启迪完了一走了之，然后就不保持这种关系了。
And how to keep a good relationship by hearing regularly from the spiritual master.
如何保持这种友善的关系呢？是有规律的聆听灵性导师。
You don't have to just come and have a conversation about mundane things. You have to hear when the spiritual master is giving classes. You want to hear from him. And then you should try to put relevant questions.
你不要来到灵性导师那里来闲扯世俗的话题，而应当去聆听灵性导师讲课，并且努力提出相关的问题。
And this way the spiritual master will be enlivened, he'll be encouraged to speak more.
这样灵性导师他就感到很振奋，他就会继续的谈论这个话题。
All right, so we've been speaking for 1 hour, so now we're going to stop and we'll ask if there's any questions.
那现在我们已经讲了1个小时了，那接下来我们来回答问题。第一个问题是来自，对不起，今天的 今天信号不好，给大家带来麻烦。一个是找真正帕布，找真帕布的问题是，明白，亲爱的马拉子，明白您为什么今天都要给圣人节祷文呢？以前没有要求我们这么做，这是我们责任吗？必须吗？不献祷文，圣人会怪罪我们，这样能进步吗？通常我们只对灵性启迪咕噜专注多，用情多于圣恩的专注和情感，这不是错误。那到底圣恩对我们灵性有多重要？如何对待启迪咕噜？有大批中国封建者，写了对圣恩的奉爱，如何激发这种奉爱？通过读他的书、听他的课吗？还有什么方法？如果我们增加对圣恩的信心和情感，会不会减少对启迪咕噜和训示咕噜的信心？Offenses to dear Maharaj, why should we write offering to His Divine Grace on this day? Previously, there's no requirement. It is a duty for us, and if we don't offer this, make this offering, will His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada blame us? Can we still make progress? Usually, we are much absorbed in our feeling with our own Diksha Guru, more than our feeling to Srila Prabhupada. If this is not a fault on our part, then what's the importance for our spiritual practice on the part of Prabhupada? How should we deal with the relationship with Diksha Guru and Srila Prabhupada?
We should understand that the purpose of Diksha, taking a Diksha Guru, is to connect us more closely to the founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada.
我们要明白，我们从 Diksha Guru 启迪灵性导师那获得启迪，是为了更加深我们和我们的奠基灵性导师的加深和他的关系。
The Diksha Guru should be a very faithful and very strict follower of Srila Prabhupada, and he should be constantly preaching about Srila Prabhupada to his disciples.
Diksha Guru 启迪灵性导师应当是Srila Prabhupada的忠实的追随者。启迪灵性导师应该向门徒来讲授、传授有关于Srila Prabhupada的事情。
We consider Srila Prabhupada to be the instructing spiritual master for all the devotees in ISKCON.
我们认为Srila Prabhupada是所有ISKCON 国际 Krishna 这些协会成员的训示灵性导师。
But Srila Prabhupada is not just only the instructing spiritual master. He is the founder, Acharya. Everything which we are doing in our society, it comes from Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada 的地位不仅仅是训示灵性导师而已，他是我们协会的奠基 Acharya， 我们协会的方方面面一切都来自于Srila Prabhupada。
The deities which are established, the temples which are established, the books which we use, the preaching which we do, all the activities, the timetable we have, it's all coming from Srila Prabhupada.
我们崇拜的神像，我们所建立的庙宇，我们阅读的书籍，我们的传教活动，我们的时间表，都是Srila Prabhupada制定的。
So devotees coming to ISKCON, they should first of all take shelter of Srila Prabhupada before they take a Diksha Guru.
奉献者们来到我们Krishna这些协会，首先第一件事应该是托庇于圣人Srila Prabhupada，之后才是托庇于一个启迪灵导师。
The first thing is to establish a very firm connection with Srila Prabhupada. You see in our temples every day we do Prabhupada Guru Puja, and we have Prabhupada's Vyasasan. So the purpose is there to encourage devotees to get connected to Srila Prabhupada.
第一件事儿，第一个重要的事情就是来加速我们跟施乐帕帕的关系。我们看到每天在庙宇当中，实际上庙宇都会有 Guru Puja， 还有施乐帕帕的特定的 Vyasa 座，我们就鼓励奉献者跟施乐帕帕的保持一种关系。
Because Srila Prabhupada is a very dear devotee of Lord Krishna. And we could see that because how Srila Prabhupada preached Krishna consciousness, that he had so much of the potency of Lord Krishna. He could bring so many people to Krishna consciousness. So he was full of the mercy of Krishna. And we want devotees to get some of that mercy, to get connected to Prabhupada.
我们可以看到这个帕帕的满怀对 Krishna 的奉爱之情，施乐帕帕德，他从 Krishna 那里得到了那么多力量来传播，他把那么多人带到 Krishna 世界当中，他充满了 Krishna 的仁慈。奉献者们，我们希望奉献者们因为跟帕帕德保持连接，得到这份仁慈。
So don't just only think of the Diksha Guru. This is really not good. We have to understand what's the purpose of the Diksha Guru, and that is to connect us to Srila Prabhupada.
所以不要只是想着自己的启迪咕噜不好，我们应当明白启迪咕噜它的意义何在，它是为了把我们跟施乐帕帕德相联系在一起。
So today is the biggest day on our Vaishnava calendar. Today is to be the most important, is to be the biggest festival because it's glorification of our founder Acharya. And everyone should take part in it, and it should be a very gorgeous event. And everyone is supposed to write an offering for Srila Prabhupada.
今天是歪什那瓦日历上最重要的一个最重要的节日，每个人都应该来荣耀我们的奠基。
So you may say, well, I don't know Srila Prabhupada, I only know you, I only know my Guru. Well, you should get to know Srila Prabhupada. You've done it wrong. You came to Krishna consciousness the wrong way. You're supposed to come first to Srila Prabhupada, and then you come to the Diksha Guru. Gurumani? Gurumani? Hare Krishna? Gurumani? Haribo? Sumukhi Radha? Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna? She's asking us to unmute her. Did you mute Sumukhi Radha? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Yes, Hare Krishna.
他可能是在外面，信号不好。
Oh, Nisha Sumukhi Radha.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Oh, okay. 他在外边啊？
是的。
Guru Mani 也在。
现在网上，对，因为他们出去联谊。
Guru Mani 不在那边。
Guru Mani 他在外面，所以他信号不是太好。
这个太麻烦了。
稍微等一下他，我跟他联系啊。
好啊，等你。
他现在在线。Hare Krishna, Guru Mani Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Somebody.
是文娟马大吉，我是在的啊，我在的啊，主持人在，但是翻译马大吉他现在信号不好，就是好像没有声音，我们稍微等一下啊。
Sheshur, unmute me. You're 在 chat 里面说 unmute me. 他要说话，就是他没办法说。这个是谁？这个是 Guru Mani。
看一下哈。
你看 chat， 因为他不是，
OK。
刚刚是 Guru Mani， 他不会说话。
哦。他好像是换了一个什么。
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, 马大吉。
我刚才
你的麦不知道什么原因自己关掉了。
不是我掉线了，我再上来的时候我就打不开麦。
OK， 好了。
Sorry,
Okay, 我们继续。
dropped off.
我们继续。
Okay, just now you mentioned that everybody should attend this festival and make offering to Srila Prabhupada on this very important festival to honor our founder Acharya. 刚才讲到了，在这个今天最重要的节日上，我们应当荣耀我们的地基灵性导师。每个人都应该参加这个节日，来给圣帕帕德供奉祷文。
We shouldn't think that, oh, my spiritual master is more important. No, Prabhupada is more important than my spiritual master.
我们不要想着我的灵性导师最重要，不是的，十乐帕帕比我们的领导更重要。
Because Prabhupada is the spiritual master for all the members in the movement, and so everyone should participate in this festival.
因为这个帕帕德圣帕帕德是这个运动当中所有人的灵性导师，所以所有的人都应当来参加这个节日庆典。
And this will keep our movement very united. Everyone comes together and we are all worshipping the one Guru. So it's very good for our movement.
所以这样以这种方式，我们这个 Krishna 这些运动就能团结一致，来崇拜一个 Guru 了。
Sometimes we get divided. We think, oh, he's not my Guru. I don't go to him. No, he's not my Guru. I go only for my Guru. And we make distinction. But Prabhupada's Guru for everyone.
有的奉献者会想，这不是我的 Guru， 我不去他那儿，我只去我自己的 Guru 那儿，他们就做这种区分。但是对于圣帕帕来说，就不存在这种区分了，他是我们所有人的 Guru。
Okay. 还有问题吗？
Yes. Rajan Prabhu said that should everybody make offering to Srila Prabhupada on this day?
Yes, everyone.
Okay. 那刚才Rajan Prabhu的问题是不是每个人都应当向圣帕帕献祷文呢？Guru的回答是是的，每个人都应该献祷文。
Yeah. We just had a program in a city in South India, in Chennai, and they had 300 people there, all in the Bhakti Briksha groups. None of them many of them not initiated, and they all wrote an offering, 300 of them. They all had their offerings for Prabhupada.
在南印度 Chennai 这个庙，他们有个 Bhakti 父爱树这个活动，父爱树这项目呢，大部分人都是没有起立的。然后在今天这个节日上，他们300个人都供奉了祷文。
Okay.
下一个问题。
Yeah.
Because just now I dropped off the line and my question's not there. Can I ask Sumukhi Radha to read? Sumukhi Radha, 你帮我读下这个问题可以吗？我刚才掉线了，所以问题都没有了。现在只有新的问题。
好的，马大吉。
谢谢。
仁智卡布问，虽然门徒课中提到新人首先托庇圣恩，然后再托庇在世Guru，现实是启迪奉献者虽然学了门徒课程，但遇到新人时直接越过圣恩，要求托庇自己的启迪Guru，乐此不疲，热情满满。问题在哪里？原因何在？如何理论联系实际？按照门徒课程的知识，在实际生活中运用呢？
In the disciple course, disciple course require that the neophyte first of all take shelter of his divine grace, and then take shelter of a guru who's living. But the fact is, although devotees who have already been initiated, they learn the course, disciple course, but when the neophyte, but when there's neophyte, 当遇到现实，当遇到现实。Yes. And then when the neophyte comes, they ask the neophyte to directly shout out their own guru instead of Srila Prabhupada. So what's the problem with this?
Well, they have to understand that relationship with Prabhupada is eternal. That they don't give up Prabhupada to take shelter of the Diksha Guru, but the Diksha Guru is to help them to get a stronger connection, to come closer to Prabhupada.
他们要明白，跟圣恩帕帕的关系是永恒的，不应该放弃这种关系。他们应该帮助这些新人来跟圣帕帕德加强联系。
We want to connect people to Prabhupada, and the Diksha Guru can help in that. The Diksha Guru has to be transparent. He has to encourage the disciples. And all the Diksha Gurus, we're all meant to encourage our disciples to worship Prabhupada and to take part in this festival and to write the offering for Prabhupada.
启迪咕噜都应该鼓励门徒崇拜帕帕德，参加这个节日来给圣帕帕德供奉祷文。
So the position of the founder Acharya is very special. The problem is people are not very much familiar with the importance of the position of the founder Acharya.
奠基一个运动的创办灵性导师，他的地位是独一无二的，许多人没有认识到这个创办灵性导师他地位的重要性。
So when you see, if you were in an ISKCON temple, then you would see how Prabhupada's Vyasasana is there in the temple room, and how every day we offer Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada. But because in China most people we don't have temples, everybody lives at home, you don't see these things, you're not aware of it.
我们看到在伊斯康的庙宇当中，每天都给舍利帕帕德做咕噜铺着，而且一进这个庙宇都能看见，圣帕帕德的这个维亚萨散是特别醒目的，赫然历历在目。但是我们在中国，在家中呢没有庙，所以大家不了解这一点。
So this is an important aspect of Krishna consciousness, which we could say we need to encourage people to worship the founder Acharya, to feel more connection to the founder Acharya.
所以这一点是非常重要的。我们当鼓励人们去崇拜施勒帕帕的圣帕布达帕的奠基灵性导师，跟这个奠基灵性导师保持一种联系。
And we have, of course, many devotees. They wrote books about Prabhupada. They wrote the different people. Some people were Prabhupada's servants, and some other people had some realizations about Prabhupada. They wrote books about these things. So there's a lot of books coming out, devotees glorifying Prabhupada. It's very good for us to read these books and hear them.
有圣帕帕的仆人，他们写了一些书籍、回忆录，还有的奉献者就专门写了荣耀帕帕德的书。就这些书是专门荣耀帕帕德的。这些书呢，我们应当阅读。
We have the Prabhupada Lilamrita, but that's only one book. That's only one book. That's the book by Sasvarupa Goswami. But there are other books about Prabhupada. Tamal Krishna Goswami, he wrote about Prabhupada. And then Shamsundar Prabhu, he's writing very nicely about Prabhupada and his dealings with Prabhupada. And Guru Das and Yamuna, and they all wrote about Prabhupada. There's books coming out. Giri Raj Swami just wrote a book about Prabhupada. And there's so much to be heard. All these books, we have to have them translated to Chinese for the devotees.
那么除了就是圣帕帕德逍遥纲目这本书是Sasvarupa Das Goswami 写的，这个专门荣耀帕帕书籍之外，还有其他的像 Krishna Goswami、Shamsundar、Guru Das、Yamuna， 还有最近的刚出的 Gira Swami 这个荣耀帕帕的 书籍，奉献者也应当要亲自去读这些书籍。
Harisori Prabhu, of course, he was Prabhupada's servant. He wrote his diary. He's published several volumes of his diary.
Harisori 是帕帕德的贴身仆人，他写了好几卷的这个日记。
And I think there's some attempt, I heard some talk that devotees want to translate that book, one of these books of Harisori.
听说有奉献者就是想把这本书翻译出来。
Okay.
Okay. Rajan Prabhu said that亚马尔第一次听您说圣帕拉的比自己的起立功重要，天赋我们对起立功的信心。是的话，亚马尔，today I first heard from you that Srila Prabhupada is more important than our Diksha Guru, and this make our faith to our own Diksha Guru not so strong. No, so this has made a.
Well, we have to understand the Guru is one. There's no difference between the Diksha Guru and Srila Prabhupada. When the Diksha Guru is transparent, there's no difference. The Guru is one. The Guru is representative of Krishna, but he comes in many forms. I don't mean to discourage your devotion for your Diksha Guru. Devotion for the Diksha Guru is also very good. But the devotion for the Diksha Guru should also go to Srila Prabhupada, because they're not different. The Diksha Guru is connected to Srila Prabhupada.
我说这个话的意思，并不是教你们对启迪灵运导师的信心，因为Guru是一个，Guru就是一个人啊。那么就是我们启迪Guru和圣帕拉德是那么是一样的。我们启迪Guru是一个透明的媒介，Guru 它代表了Krishna。那我们并不是说不鼓励奉献者对他们的Guru缺乏奉爱，但是我们对我们的Guru的这种奉爱会就是转移到圣帕拉德那样层层递上去，对他们是没有不同的。
And the GBC have said that Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja must be the biggest event. It must be bigger than our own Guru's Vyasa Puja.
GBC 管理委员会它有一个文件就说到，对于圣帕拉德的 Vyasa Puja 这个庆典是一个最盛大的节日，它应该是比我们对我们自己的 Guru 的这个庆祝要隆重。
So you should understand why like that, because it's an opportunity for all the devotees, all disciples of all different gurus to come together and to be united.
我们应当明白这条规定后面的理由是什么。这样的话，所有的奉献者都可以团结在一起，来一起不同的Guru的门徒，他们都会来参加这个庆典。
That we should be united. And how to unite all of us? The way in which we can unite all the devotees is through Srila Prabhupada.
我们应当团结一致。那么我们是怎么团结一致呢？是通过圣帕拉德团结一致。
Of course, Guru Bhakti is very good. It's good you have devotion for your Guru. But we should understand our Guru is also representative of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada is representative of Krishna.
当然了 ，Guru Bhakti 是非常好的一件事了。但是我们应该明白，我们的 Guru 是代表着圣帕拉德的，而圣帕拉德是代表了 Krishna。
Okay.
我找真的，我说 通常我们只对起咕专注的多。Usually we are more absorbed in our own Diksha Guru.
Yes, this is something which is not quite right though. It's not quite correct. You see, we have to have, the purpose of the Diksha Guru is to bring us to Prabhupada and to increase our faith in the Srila Prabhupada, because Srila Prabhupada ultimately is the one who's going to deliver us all back to Godhead.
这是不对的，说这是不正确的，因为我们的起立咕是把我们带到圣帕帕德那里，为了再增加我们对帕帕德的信心。具体而言，是圣帕帕德拯救我们，把我们带回，拯救我们回归神手。
Our Diksha Guru can take you back to Godhead by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada.
你的起立咕是急着圣帕帕的仁慈，把你带回神手的，拯救你回到神手那里。
So it's really important for us to keep Srila Prabhupada in his position and not to let Prabhupada's position be minimized. And you don't want to take Prabhupada out. We have to keep Prabhupada there, that he's for the Guru for all generations to come. There will be many, many generations in the future, and they will all be under Srila Prabhupada.
所以一定不能减少降低圣帕帕德的地位，然后把帕帕德踢出去，因为将来就是一代复一代的许许多多的人，他们都会来到这个运动当中，而他们其实都是在圣帕帕德这个旗帜下面。
And we see those Diksha Gurus who are very strong in Krishna consciousness, they're very fixed in devotion to Srila Prabhupada. They're very firmly attached to Srila Prabhupada.
那些有强大 Krishna 知觉的启迪灵性导师，我们看到他们对圣帕帕德拥有强大的奉爱之心，拥有强烈的依附。Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, the devotee, is a humble obeisance. What happens to the devotee? Arjuna Prabhu asked, this year there are a lot of Chinese devotees, they write offerings to Srila Prabhupada with strong devotion and feeling. And how to inspire this kind of devotion? Is it through reading his book, listen to his lecture, except that what else?
Well, take part in the worship of Srila Prabhupada. If you go and see Prabhupada's Guru Puja every day and offer flowers to Prabhupada, and then we'll think more about Srila Prabhupada. When we go in the temple room, we offer obeisances to Prabhupada. We see Prabhupada there in the temple. So this will help us to think and be more conscious, be more Prabhupada conscious.
可以参加对帕帕德的崇拜仪式，入突着向圣帕帕德献花，总是想着帕帕德，去庙里的礼拜，向帕帕德礼拜。这样的话，我们就有帕帕德的知觉。
Every day should offer a flower to Prabhupada.
每天都要向帕帕德供花。
Every day we offer obeisances to Prabhupada. When we bow down, we always recite Prabhupada's pranam mantra.
每天我们向帕帕德顶拜，顶拜的时候要念诵帕帕德的顶拜祷文。
So we should be thinking of Prabhupada.
我们应该总是想着帕帕德。
And of course we need to see the example also from the older devotees, that they also think of Prabhupada.
我们也要看那些年长奉献者他们的榜样。 他们对帕帕德的奉爱。
Examples are very important for us.
榜样的力量是非常重大的。
Okay?
Chaitanya Charan, Hare Krishna 顶拜 Gurudev，感谢奉献者。有些人说，高迪亚是圣帕帕德古鲁创办的社团，纳瑞安派是帕帕德神兄弟的门徒创办的社团，在他们那里修一 Krishna 之觉，在跟 ISKCON 修习有什么区别？Somebody said that Gaudiya Mandir is created by the Guru of Srila Prabhupada, and Narayan sect is created by disciple of the God brother of Srila Prabhupada. What's the what's the difference between practice Krishna consciousness in ISKCON and practice Krishna consciousness in those groups, Gaudiya Math and Narayan Maharaj?
Well, the Gaudiya Math are not directly connected to Prabhupada. Prabhupada established ISKCON. When Prabhupada established ISKCON, Gaudiya Math was also existing. Now, if Gaudiya Math was good, Prabhupada would not have established ISKCON. But Prabhupada was not very happy with the Gaudiya Math. He was not very satisfied with how they did things. And Prabhupada wanted to establish the ISKCON society.
Gaudiya Math 就跟圣帕帕德没有直接的关系。他建立国际科学的这些协会的时候，高迪亚 Math 已经存在了，高迪亚修院。而且帕帕德对于高迪亚 Math 并不是很满意，也不是很高兴，对他们的这个状态，所以帕帕德才创立了ISKCON国际科学知协会。
It was Srila Prabhupada who went to the West and preached in the West. The Gaudiya Math, they didn't go until later. First Prabhupada went and established everything and got devotees and everything. Then from the work of ISKCON, then the Gaudiya Math, they also took advantage of the work which ISKCON had done in the West, that they could attract some people.
当圣帕帕德去西方的时候，当时高迪亚修院他们没有人去西方，他们是后来圣帕帕德已经在西方建立 Krishna 这些协会，已经吸引了很多奉献者进来的时候，然后高迪亚 Math 就利用了 ISKCON 工作，然后在西方吸引了很多人。
So there are other distinctions, but the main thing is, please Srila Prabhupada, you stay in ISKCON. Prabhupada didn't encourage us to go to the Gaudiya Math.
这是主要的区别。我们应当取悦圣帕帕德，留在 ISKCON 当中，不要去外面。
When sometimes some devotees would go to Gaudiya Math, Prabhupada would not be happy. He said, why you went there? And sometimes devotees would purchase the books from there. Prabhupada said, why you purchase their books? Have you read all of our books? You read our books. Everything is in my books. You don't need to read their books.
有的奉献者就去了高迪亚 Math 修院那边，然后那个施德帕帕德并很高兴，他会问他们：你们为什么要去那里？还有的奉献者买了高迪亚修院的书籍，帕帕德就会问：你们为什么要买他们的书籍？你们读完了我的所有的书籍了吗？我已经把一切都写在我的书籍当中了。
So you have to be thinking of Prabhupada. What did Prabhupada want? Does Prabhupada want you to go there? So we say, first of all, you get connected to Prabhupada. And if you're connected to Prabhupada, then you'll never go outside of ISKCON.
首先要想着帕帕德希望我们去做什么？帕帕德希望我们去那里吗？我们要跟帕德 建立一个联系，很稳固的联系的话，我们就不会去外面了。
Okay.
阿瑞邦萨，如果我增加对圣恩的信心情感，会减少对奇咕噜的信心情感吗 ？If I strengthen my faith and feeling to Srila Prabhupada, will that minimize my faith and feeling to my Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru?
Well, if the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are faithful to Srila Prabhupada, then it will not minimize your faith to them.
如果奇吉咕噜、shiksha Guru 他们对帕布哈德是满怀忠诚的话，不会减少对他们的信心以及情感。
And you should respect them more. By going to Prabhupada, you will have more respect for your Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru.
当你如果对帕帕德就是满怀崇敬之心的话，对自己的咕噜会有更多的崇敬之心。
Because it's only by their mercy that you've come to devote yourself to Prabhupada.
因为就是由于他们的仁慈，你才来到能够跟帕帕那里。
They helped you to get attached to Prabhupada.
是他们使你依附了圣帕帕德。
Yes, go ahead.
Harivansa, okay, this is from Raj question.
From who?
Tulasi, 心里有说话的声音，心里面就像放电影儿，一边诵时全身颤抖。我已经3个月没唱诵了。In my heart, Tulasi said that there is a voice in my heart, in my mind. It's just like a film. And when I chant, there is shivering all over my body. But I do not chant for 3 months.
So what's the question?
There's no question. No question, only the statement. 这个布拉西，您的问题是什么？
不是玛尼玛大吉，您先往下看吧，我再问一下他，好吗？
下面没有问题了。下面没有问题了。
没有问题。
还有就是，对，下面没有问题了。
我刚刚复制给您的那些问题，能看到了吗？
就是真正帕布的那些问题回答完了。Ina 的this question from Ina. Hare Krishna. Kumar and devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Oh Lord Srila Prabhupada, can atheists turn into sensual pleasure? What happens to the devotee in doing so?
What?
Yuna 的问题是，Hare Krishna Guru 奉献者，请接受我卑微的顶拜，所有荣耀归师的爸爸的那些苦行者、苦行禁欲的人，他们能不能变成？他们会不会变成感官享乐者？那么那些奉献者这么做的奉献者，他们会发生什么事情？看 ascetic turn into sensual pleasure. A Caesar turn into sensual pleasure. 一些禁欲的行为会不会转变成感官享乐？那些 这么做的奉献者，就是他们克制自己的欲望，禁止克制自己的欲望，他们会不会最后变成感官享乐的人？
Okay, so she's asking about if we're too strict on ourselves, if we're very strict in disciplining ourselves.
Yes.
So, can it turn into sensual pleasure?
Yes.
Well, it can do, yes.
可能会就是禁欲反而转换成了感官享乐了。
Some people, they take pleasure in whipping themselves, or they take pleasure in being beaten.
有的人他们就是从那个自责，就是使劲的谴责自己，这里得到快乐。
So, we have to know what is the proper level of austerity. We have to follow the principles. We have to be guided by senior devotees. What is proper and what is not proper.
我们要知道苦行的正确的，什么是正确的苦行的层面？正确的苦行的原则是什么？应当从年长奉献者那里得到正确的指导。
Some devotees, they may like to do fasting. They think, oh, I'm fasting, and they're thinking they don't eat anything, or very advanced. But Prabhupada encouraged us to eat prasadam.
有的人他们就是苦行，就戒食，什么也不吃，然后他们就觉得显得好像是非常进步。可是帕萨德却鼓励我们去荣耀菩萨的。
By eating prasadam, we get purified.
通过荣耀菩萨的，我们得到净化。
Of course, later in life, in old age, then people can reduce. They don't need to eat. Prabhupada taught us that old man should not eat too much.
当然了，就是等到老年的时候，可以减少进食量，因为帕萨德说过，老人就是不要吃太多了。
So it depends on the person. What, are they young or are they old? And what position are some people are sannyasis? Sannyasis should be more renounced.
这因人而异，看他是年轻人还是老年人。如果是sannyasi托钵僧应该是更加气节的。
And so it's different for different people. So hard to say.
所以这是因人而异，就是有因人而异的，就很难一概而论。
All right.
哈尔邦萨之前听说瑞德维格派近来在一个奉爱学习全受一个奉献者中心视频信加了这个奉献者3位组长才知道怎么与这样的奉献相处。他们属于创大家庭吗？Previously I heard about Riddick. Recently, I was attracted by a video on the internet about some devotee, and I connected with this devotee through WeChat. Later on, through our group video, I know that it is about Riddick. Well, how can we still get along with this kind of devotee? Do they belong to Islam?
No.
不属于。
They don't belong to ISKCON. They're not
他们不属于。
They may say they're ISKCON, but actually they don't follow, they don't recognize the authority of the GBC, so they're not really ISKCON.
他们可能自称他们属于ISKCON，可是他们不遵守这个，就是 规则，他们不承认GBC 国管理委员会这个架构，所以他们是不属于ISKCON的。
So you should be very careful about associating with them.
所以你要很在跟他们联谊的过程当中非常小心。He said that they also worship Srila Prabhupada.
They also what?
Worship Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, I know.
From the video.
I know they
the video
worship. I know they worship Srila Prabhupada, but they don't follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
我知道，我知道他们是崇拜帕拉的，但他们听话，他们没有听话听那个帕拉的教导。
Prabhupada said we should all cooperate together.
帕拉说我们应该合作。
And Prabhupada set up the GBC to manage the society.
帕拉德也说过，他把这个协会的管理交托给 GBC。
And he said they should be the ultimate authority in ISKCON.
他说 GBC 是 ISKCON 的终极管理权威。
So they don't accept that.
这些他们都不接受。
And they say the disciplic succession ends with Prabhupada. They say none of Prabhupada's disciples are qualified to give initiation.
他们说这个使徒传系就到这个帕巴拉的为止了，然后接下来就没有人有资格再启迪门徒了。
So that means they're saying Prabhupada could not train even one person to become a spiritual teacher.
他们说帕巴德甚至能训练一个人当灵性导师。Sorry, my battery.
Guru Mani?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. 他们说帕巴德甚至不能训练一个人来当灵性导师。
So this is not a very nice thing to say about Srila Prabhupada. If you say that Srila Prabhupada could not make even one of his disciples qualified to take up the spiritual master, the position of spiritual master, that is very disrespectful to Prabhupada.
所以这个是特别不尊敬的、不礼貌的。就是如果他们说帕巴德甚至没有资格能够训练一个门徒当灵性导师的话，那么这对帕巴德简直是一个莫大的不敬。
Okay, I think we'll stop here today.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaja.
Yes, Hare
感
Krishna.
恩您的精彩讲课，非常抱歉，我今天因为在中心在服务，所以刚刚没有听到您呼叫我，我正在给神家房清洁地毯。
Swami Raja said that Jessica called her name and she's cleaning in the center do the cleaning, therefore she did not hear you calling her, therefore she felt very sorry for that.
I'm very sorry to all the devotees listening because the sound production is very poor.
OK， 那非常对不起所有的奉献者，因为今天的那个声音音质是特别差的，非常抱歉，非常抱歉。
Okay, so we hope you all have a nice Vyasa Puja. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.